All right, welcome to a very special episode of the Airborne Sea Life Show / podcast / whatever. My name is Yusuf. That's Manuel. Brendan's not here right now, and this is going to be completely just like off the cuff today. We're going to have dumb fun. Hey, Manuel. So, as I was telling you right before I hit record, literally like 5 seconds before I hit record, Linkin Park is back, and they have a new album.
Linkin Park.
Yes, Linkin Park, the band.
The band.
Yes.
Linkin Park.
Yes, them. You know, with the one guy and the other guy and the guy that died. Yeah, that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Who replaced the dead, or did they dig up the body?
They did not dig up the body of Chester Bennington. Bennington, if that is what you were asking. No, they have officially announced that they are A, releasing a new record, and B, their new vocalist is going to be, I can't remember her name. 1 second. Emily Armstrong is her name.
I have no idea who that is.
She is the singer of a band called Dead Sarah.
I have no idea what that is.
Mainly does like alt-rocky kind of stuff. And so she has been officially named the new vocalist for Linkin Park. They did a show yesterday. Okay. Where it was basically a mini private concert that was live streamed, where they did a bunch of old LP hits and then some new stuff. They announced a new record, and here we are.
Here's the thing. They should. I hope she doesn't sound anything like Chester Bennington.
She doesn't.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm game. Do we have any news today? Do we not have any news today? I think
that honestly,
right, that's how
I wanted to do this was that be the news and talk about bands trying to make a comeback, because we've seen our fair share of bands trying to like revive themselves, and you know how practical it can be, especially with like the way fan base reacts to it and whatnot. Especially
there's bands that make a whole career out of coming back for one last show.
Kiss,
and Slayer.
Yeah,
but it's sometimes cool. Like, I don't know. Who's done that recently? Besides Kiss and Slayer.
That's a good question. It's like, well, the other thing too is like you're reviving a band and replacing quote unquote like a very pivotal member, but in this case, that pivotal member is dead. So.
Well, I'm thinking right now of Camelot, which did not make a comeback, but they replaced Roy Khan, who was extremely unique vocalist, and they made the right choice of replacing him with Tommy, who sounds absolutely nothing like Roy Khan, and it's cool, and it's a completely different thing. And I personally like that, because I don't like it when bands keep doing the same thing long after it was a good idea. Like, okay, right. Avenged.
Okay, yeah.
Right, Avenged lost the Rev.
Yep.
They finished Nightmare.
Yep.
No, sorry. Was it? What was that?
It was Nightmare. The album after he passed away was Nightmare, yeah.
And then they did Hail to the King, which was kind of people don't like it. I thought it was fine. It's very fine. Kind of an homage to classic metal.
Yeah,
it's not super special, but I like it. And then they were like, okay, the guy who did all of the thing that we were is gone now. We're not going back to that. Let's get real weird with it.
Yeah, and then they made the stage.
And then they got real weird with it.
Yeah. Yeah, but then they somehow amped it up even further after the fact with the last album.
Yeah, that last album is nuts.
It's what that album's an adventure is what that is.
Which is awesome, because they kind of going back to old Avenged was not gonna work.
No.
And I'm sure people are pissed that they're not doing that anymore, but it's the same as the people who complain about Periphery 5 not sounding like Periphery 2. They already did Periphery 2.
Exactly. That's funny. It's funny with Periphery, because they weren't going to go back to like pre-Alpha Omega or like Periphery 2. But like bands need to evolve at some point. It kind of harks back to something you, me, and Mike had a conversation about one day when we were talking about Metallica. This is like, I don't remember where. I think this is one of the trips we took for Necronomicon, but we were talking about the evolution of Metallica and where they got to. And Mike said something that kind of sticks with me to this day, is that they had to make the Black Album the way it was, or they were never going to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Metallica made a ton of mistakes in the following years, but yeah, they weren't going back to... They already did the angry music for teenagers thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had to do something else.
Right. And like the Black Album, I think, was the perfect switcheroo for that. And kind of, I mean, they've been...
I like the Black Album.
The Black Album's great.
I like it.
It's one of my favorite albums ever. Yeah, it is a great album.
I'm not a huge Metallica fan, but
that is a great album.
It is a great album.
It is a very good album. But yeah, like things like that. I know it's funny with Periphery too, because I remember for a while there was a conversation going around with like if Linkin Park were ever to tour again and have a vocalist fill in the role of Chester, someone was like, "Oh, what about Spencer Sotelo?"
That would work.
It would work.
But I think that they shouldn't go with someone who sounds like Spencer, and it seems like they haven't.
Yeah, well, we can... Honestly, I might just pull up their new single, and we can listen to it, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
My skin, and I know exactly how this ends. I let you cut me open just to watch me bleed. Gave up who I am for who you wanted me to be. Don't know why I'm hoping for what I won't receive. Falling for the promise of the emptiness machine. The emptiness machine.
She's good.
She's very good. That was cool.
Do we know who the other singer is?
Do
we know who the other singer is?
It's just Emily and Mike Shinoda.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's just them. Which right. I like that they're still keeping that there. I don't know. That was yeah, that was cool. Like I haven't taken time to listen to that single yet, so I'm glad we did that now. But
It's kind of it's pretty classic Linkin Park. Angsty. Hey, work sucks kind of song. But,
it's very like old new metal.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's really good. And I mean, there's a reason why old new metal is a lot about angsty work sucks kind of stuff, because it kind of does. But
and also old new metal's like making a comeback apparently. Like all the big.
I've been speaking of comeback. I've been hearing a lot of like late 2000s pop punk, not pop punk, like Rise Against kind of.
Yeah, they've like the Offspring's making a comeback.
Offspring,
like
kind of
Fall
stuff.
Out Boys come doing stuff now.
Like early Fall Out Boy, I've been hearing, which is good Fall Out Boy.
It is good Fall Out Boy. It is very good Fall Out Boy. But no, it's cool. The one thing I don't know, I kind of appreciate about this new Linkin Park single is they always were so much fun from a production standpoint. Like you never think about this when you're a kid because you're too focused on like the angsty lyrics and like also Chester was just an incredible vocalist, but like listening to the production on this, I'm like, oh, okay, like there's a lot of like old. Who the hell? Okay, there's a lot of like old LP elements and some like the post 2010 like Minutes to Midnight era stuff you're hearing there.
Yeah.
One thing I really enjoy is the is the split between using like more like 8-bit or like bit crush drums in certain moments as like a lead up into just everything else. It was kind of nice.
I love bit crushing. I mean, I heard someone, or I saw someone on, I don't remember, Facebook, something like that, saying, "Oh man, I hope like early internet digital distortion doesn't get the kind of cult worship that old analog distortion used to get." Like, brother, people are already feeling nostalgic about like that Homestar Runner video bit crushing.
Yeah.
I love bit crush drums. They're super cool. Yeah. I love bit crushing in general, but
that you do. It's a nice contrast, you know what I mean? Like just that, and yeah, it's nice that nothing has changed about that. Like I want to use the word iconic. Linkin Park sound with like their production and like the way their guitars are set up and like, you know, the way the drums are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that nothing's changed. She sounds great.
Yeah, she really does.
It's definitely a nice contrast from Chester. Mm-hmm. Like there's still that aggression in there, but it's not like gut punchy aggressive. It's a different kind, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, they're not trying to replace him. They're trying to do something else.
Yeah, exactly.
He's hard to replace.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to replicate something like that. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, all things considered with Linkin Park, like I remember a conversation going around, people were like, "Oh,
I should probably put my phone on silent."
That's 2 phone mishaps in the last like minute.
Proceed.
Yeah, anyway. So, you know, there was when people were, you know, when everyone was like AI generating everything, someone was like, "Oh, what if?"
You mean now?
You mean now? Yeah. People were like, "What if
this current post-digital nightmare we're living through?" Anyway,
God, I hate it. Someone was like, "Oh, what if they AI generated Chester's voice for a new record?" And I'm like, "Don't," because like the Beatles are doing that.
What?
Have you heard about that?
No.
They're using snippets from old demos from like the 60s, and they're going to AI generate the rest of John Lennon and George Harrison's voices to release new Beatles material.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I guess they do. Well,
anyway,
maybe it'll come out around the same time as the 4 Beatles biopics we're getting. Have you heard about that?
No.
Oh, well, this is going to be a sidebar for a second. So apparently, each member of the Beatles is getting their own individual biopic, which will then lead into a biopic about the Beatles. That as a band
feels unnecessary.
We're getting the Beatles cinematic universe.
We're getting
the BCU.
So I read a lot of history.
Yes, you do.
and a lot of political history in particular. And sometimes, despite the fact that I know the answer to this question, I still sit here and ask, how did we get here? How did we get to this moment in time where we're getting the Beatles cinematic universe? Anyway, Linkin Park.
Yeah. Cool. They got a new record coming out in November, but something I kind of want to talk about now with this is I think this can be like the rest of the episode. I think we've brought this up before on Airborne with like other bands that have like replaced members that are deceased or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Manuel, are you familiar with the Ship of Theseus?
I think I know where we're going with this. Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the question then begs: is it still the same band without Chester? Legally, obviously, right? With bands, it's very much a different story. But there's people are already going crazy on the internet of like, this is a new era of Linkin Park, and some people are like, no, they got to go back to like old Linkin Park. But they can't do that because one of the major pieces of the ship is gone.
Here's a better question.
Okay.
Which is the real Batushka?
Neither. Neither. Oh, Batushka.
No, I mean, I don't know that it matters if it's the real Linkin Park or not. Like, heck, bands with all the same members change all the time. Like, artists change what they're doing because people get older and have experiences, and those experiences change what that artist wants to. Heck, people get bored of doing a thing and decide they want to do a different thing.
Right.
It's like Linkin Park. It's most of the people from Linkin Park making music that kind of sounds like Linkin Park. It doesn't sound like old Linkin Park, but it's Linkin Park. I don't know.
Yeah. They're still like be grateful that they are still making music.
Heck, even if they called it something different, I'd still listen to it.
Yeah.
And there's bands that have done that where like they change. I'm struggling to think of one right now, but they're like, no, where they'll like actually change the name of the band because they're we're something different now.
I don't know. I can't think of
It was one recent. I've forgotten. Anyway, I'm sure I'll remember the second.
There's an example out there somewhere,
but yeah, of course it's Linkin Park.
Yeah, like it's cool. It's cool that they're back. To hold a small show yesterday, live stream it, and announce like there's a new record coming. Awesome! This has been a pretty good year for new records for a lot of bands. So it'll be a nice refresher to have a new Linkin Park album of all things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the next thing is like now I feel like they're really sticking to their not like OG roots, but their post like 2010s roots of more like very like synthy rock.
Yeah. I mean, I like the piano.
Yeah, it's really
pianos
pretty.
Pianos is cool.
Pianos is cool. Manuel 2024. It'll then lead to like an idea of how do I word this? Like genre or not genre defining, but like defining of genre, because I feel like that doesn't matter these days of like what's what.
I
can enjoy it for
I'm trying to remember who made it. If anyone remembers, put it in the comments. But there's a very well done video essay. I've forgotten who it was. Anyway, I was talking about genre and how we have arguments about what is what genre, and it was basically making the argument that it kind of genre only matters as a way to categorize products.
Okay. Was it an Adam Neely video? That sounds like an
I don't think it was Adam Neely, but it was basically making an argument for instead of like using genre as categories, as strict categories, using genre as features. So saying, okay, here's a piece of music that's a little djenty and a little this and a little that. Like, because you can't really give us a strict... art doesn't like to be categorized like that because there's always going to be borrowing and mixing.
Right.
So, there's features of a genre that put it squarely, or of a piece of music that put it squarely in a genre, but there's other features that push it a little towards that thing or a little towards that thing.
Right.
And yeah. I have thought that is a great way to talk about style and genre for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten to a point with like so much music that's come out where like X band is defined by this genre, X band is defined by this genre, Limp Bizkit is defined as the greatest band to have ever lived.
Clearly, praise be unto them.
We must all wear our red baseball caps in solidarity with Fred Durst. He's not dead. He's just
in memory of Fred Durst.
In memory of Fred Durst. He's not dead. He's just bored.
And old. I mean, have you seen him these days? He looks like someone's dad.
Yeah, but he can still move. Like he's still.
Oh, he totally can. But
active.
He looks like he belongs in front of a grill at a barbecue now.
I mean, he probably, Anyway, but yeah, like with Linkin Park, or we're getting to. There's a lot of great bands out there that have been releasing a lot of really good stuff that you can't really pinpoint to a genre anymore. And I feel like that is far more enjoyable than trying to have the argument of what genre it is. See, for example, my favorite example, Thank You, Scientist. What the fuck are they? We will never know.
Or Haken. Like, what is Haken? Because Haken is Haken a gent band? No, not really. Is Haken a classic prog band? Not really.
Not really. Or our recent favorite one that still fucks up our brains, Sleep Token. What the fuck is Sleep Token anymore? Do they play rock and roll? Sure. Do they play metal? Yeah. Do they make trap music? Also correct.
And it's not like they're the first band to do that kind of crooner metal thing.
Yeah. But it's interesting the way that like bands are, the way they shape their sound, so it's not really, they're not really held down by like a category anymore, which actually makes sense the more you think about it. To your statement,
bands were never held down into categories. I mean, sometimes record labels really wanted bands to be held down into categories. I was going to get
to that, like record labels,
because it was really easy to put a record on the shelf when you could say this is rock and roll and nothing else. But even at no point has any piece of music, unless it has defined a style, been strictly within the confines of what we would consider that style, unless it manages to kind of expand the definition of that style a little bit.
You tell me you can't put a definition of a category to Dvorak 9?
So I hate the term classical music.
Oh.
Because there are at least a dozen different styles and time periods that fall within the umbrella term classical music, one of which is the classical period, which is frankly the least interesting one.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it?
Dvorak 9 is a romantic piece, but also what is romantic music?
Right, exactly. Like what that means.
Does Dvorak 9 sound anything like Strauss?
Yeah. The answer is no.
Not really.
No. Or even like, Baroque era, like the neoclassical era too. I feel like that's such a vague, like...
Yeah, like what is Stravinsky?
The fucking man is what he is.
Yeah.
Like
you didn't think we'd end up here, did you? No.
Well, welcome to what happens when Brendan's not here.
Yeah,
we get to
we both went to music school.
Yep. Stravinsky, like John Cage, Philip Glass, like all that shit. Like, how do you, and even then. So talking about there are all these composers that are kind of like sorted into that like era, so to speak, right? Taking the conversation back to Linkin Park, somehow I'm gonna segue this. The new metal era, because Linkin Park was a big part of that new metal era, right? Or you could say they were like,
yeah, no, they totally were.
They totally were. Yeah. So you have from that era was bands like Korn, Linkin Park, Slipknot was kind of a part of that new metal era. Limp Bizkit. Like, you look at all those bands I just named, and you kind of see like the music they, oh my god, the music they release, and you kind of like you scratch your head and go, are they still considered this? Because they don't all sound similar. Like, they all have their own flavor to them.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Linkin Park had a big, like, well, funny enough, like, all their early stuff, there was a lot of, like, rap involvement.
Yeah, I mean, the things that defined that era were the rap rock, the DJ stuff, the synths.
Yep. Fred Durst.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Well, yeah. He kind of defines everything. But yeah, and it's fun that Linkin Park releases new material that feels like old Linkin Park, but not old Linkin Park. And it's like a very much a step in the... It's a step in the right direction for a fresh, just like, vibe. Like, they're not trying to be old Linkin Park. You kind of can't anymore, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was gonna think with this new vocalist because it was like kind of.
I like her a lot. I've never heard of her.
She's
but I like her.
I've never heard her before, but she sounds great. So yeah, I'm excited. Their new album comes out in November, and yeah, I think it'll be fun. Maybe they release more stuff after. Hopefully, we'll see.
So Yusuf,
no.
Here's the closing question.
Oh fuck. Okay.
How does Eric Satie fit into all of this?
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you for listening to the Airborne Sea Life podcast. Last show, my name is Yusuf, that's Manuel, and we are not going into that right now because that is a loaded question. Like, yeah. Okay. Here, I'm going to answer your question, and then I'm going to press stop so we can stop recording because this might take a while. Eric Satie, if you really think about it, 100% definitely is a composer of all time that fits into whatever the fuck he wanted. Goodbye. Why can't I hit record? Why can't I hit stop?
I was hoping